at brown belt, like, it's kind of one of those things we all kind of know each other, especially ones that compete. There's just not that many of us that compete. I think it's going to be really exciting. She goes for a lot of submissions. Our styles are very different. She's more of a bottom player, I'm more a top player. So I think that's going to play into some really exciting, entertaining match.
What's up? This is Gardy with Clear Life Media, Clear Life Combat. I'm in League City. I have a guest that's zooming in. I'm going to let them introduce themselves. We're going to find out everything that they have going on. Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you? I'm Stephanie Trevino. I live out in Katy, but I own a martial arts school out in the Sharpstown area.
If someone isn't familiar with you, what's the name of that school? And then how long have you been training? Why'd you start?
It's Team Osiris Martial Arts. I've been training for over a decade, so it's a decade. And honestly, the reason why I got into it is because my I have kids, so my son did it. He got to the age where they were like, he has to do the adult class. He's too big, and I was like, well, if I'm gonna be bringing him like every day, I might as well jump in. And I jumped in. I was doing other athletic stuff like bodybuilding. But I fell in love with jujitsu. I still try to do both for quite a few years. And then eventually like kind of phased out of bodybuilding and jujitsu became my life.
How did you get into bodybuilding? Why start that?
So I used to be very unhealthy. Like I was not an athlete. I never played any sports growing up. I never did anything athletic. I had a sister, she was the athlete and I was the nerd. I was on the speech and debate team. So like, but when I got older, I actually got pregnant when I was 19 and I didn't know anything about like eating right. So I was eating McDonald's like every day, 3 times a day. I was working full time, going to school full time, and I got up to like 200 pounds. And I started working out. I had a friend who kind of showed me how to lift weights, and he was like, "I'm not keeping up with you though. Like, you have to do it on your own." I hired a trainer, and then my trainer was a bodybuilder, and then the rest was kind of history. My dad was into bodybuilding though. He was kind of always a bodybuilder fan, so I was familiar with it. It wasn't like something that was completely like like off the wall for me to be into. And so I did that for a decade. I went pro and I competed as a pro. And I mean, as anybody who knows anything about bodybuilding, it's pretty rough on your body. So I just didn't have any longevity in it.
Whenever it comes to bodybuilding, I guess what goes into it, and I always hear this, is like it's nutrition, working out's important. But from your perspective, what is it? What does it take?
Well, I coached bodybuilders for a long time, and I always tell people anybody can be a bodybuilder. Like anybody that wanted to can be a bodybuilder. But it all really boils down to, do you have the time to sacrifice to be able to do what you need to do? And I'm talking 4 to 5 hours a day. Because if you have a regular job, you're working your job, but your eating schedule has to be on point. You're lifting weights for 2 hours a day. Once you get close to a competition, you are, doing cardio maybe 2, 3 hours a day. You're posing. So it's just like it is a huge thing.
Do
Like
you ever
so
get the
it's just
itch?
a time. You know what? I never get the itch to get on stage again. I just get the itch to be that lean again. Most bodybuilders have like body dysmorphia. And so you could be a normal weight and be like, I'm huge, I'm a fat cow. And so you do get that like itch like to be that lean. But really, if you're not trying to bodybuild, you're not going to put yourself through that because it's miserable. It's miserable to like, for a woman especially, to get that lean and stay that lean.
I know you have a match coming up. What do you have? When is it? And how's it going to go?
It's September 22nd. I've known Stephanie Klein for a long time. We've always kind of competed in similar like weight divisions. I think I'm a little bit older, so like even we're masters. But I've never competed against her. I have seen like some of her last like events. I know she's done ADCC. I've done some ADCCs. I just really like that rule set. I know she does too. And so I think it's going to be really exciting. I guess at my like kind of like at brown belt, like, it's kind of one of those things we all kind of know each other, especially ones that compete. There's just not that many of us that compete. And there's less of us that do super fights because I don't know why I know, everybody's kind of like scared to get on that stage and be judged by everybody watching you. But yeah, so I think it's gonna be really exciting. I really like that, she goes for a lot of submissions. I think that our styles are very different. She's more of a bottom player, I'm more a top player. So I think that's gonna play into some really exciting, entertaining match.
So I'm gonna take a wild guess and say you like competing. I mean, even competing in bodybuilding professionally, what kind of mindset do you have going into this, and do you enjoy it?
I would say I like the challenge. I definitely will say being a school owner and competing is hard. I mean, with Robert, like in 2019, we're not school owners yet, and we competed, 14 times that year. And so we were doing like one or two a month. And I really learned, I felt like competing really kind of advances your jujitsu so much more than just training every day because you really see it really highlights like what your flaws are and what your strengths and weaknesses are. And so that's really what I loved about competing is just kind of putting myself out there and learning more about my jujitsu than I would in just a regular like training room. So I wouldn't say I love competing. It's definitely been something that I had to work on my mindset for, get over like the nerves. Um, like we worked with Mindset Mike a couple years ago, and that really helped. So now when I compete, I have to remind myself that the only reason I do it is for fun. It's fun because nobody's making me compete. I have a school, have a lot of students, they compete all the time. And so I don't have anything to prove. I mean, it's not like gonna keep me from obtaining my black belt or, my students aren't gonna be so upset that they like quit training with me. And so when I get out there, I have to remind myself like all those nerves and anxiety that I feel is excitement. It's excitement, it's fun. For me, it's always about putting on a show. So whether, I win or lose, for me, it's just, did I perform well? And I mean, that's the most important thing for me because my training never changes. I still train the exact same way. I'm still, in the training room learning new stuff. I'm still wrestling. I'm still doing all these different things. And so I think when you kind of go into a match knowing that you've done everything that you can, the outcome is it's just the outcome.
I've followed Mindset Mike for a while, and I love the
Mhm.
stuff that he posts. I've never met him or been able to talk to him, but even some of the stuff that he shared, I've had it like as the background on my
Mhm.
phone, like different things, because I can see how like a school owner, you're not only representing yourself, you're representing the school, and I can see how,
Mhm.
at least for me, I can think it's like, oh man, they're all looking up to me, and they are, but it just there. I guess
Yeah.
there's a shift, or what do you think about that?
Well, I think that it's important. I'll say for me, I've always kind of had that mindset because I'm I'm used to losing. Like I've never was like a competitive athlete except, as an adult. But I also see like that shift in Robert. So Robert competes and he was an athlete growing up. And so when he would lose, it was very hard for him because, it's that I should have won. I should have done better. I should have like all these should haves and would haves. But I think, especially when you have students, you get to see their ups and their downs. You get to see when they win and when they lose, but you also get to see all the work that they put in to get there. And I think for us as school owners, you have to be able to show both sides of that, right? You have to show them that, hey, when I lose, it's okay. I'm just going to work harder. I'm going to try again because if you don't portray that and you don't show your students what it means to win and lose at a high level, it can definitely discourage them from ever wanting to compete.
What do you think about Elevate Submission Series, and what do you think about the, I guess, the events as a whole? What are your thoughts?
I love it. I definitely love Elevate. I will say, like, for me, it's been something that I kind of been part of since the beginning. And I love that they just give the opportunities out there. I love how they're so focused on like the local competitors and really giving like local competitors like a time to shine and like a time to like showcase their skills. And I think that sometimes that kind of gets lost with even though there are other promotions like in Houston, I think sometimes they want to like bring outsiders in. And one of the things I really like about Elevate is that it's given our students and our athletes and people that are local like more opportunities. And that's really what it boils down to is like the opportunities that are given for the people that are local. And I really appreciate that. Actually, like funny story, our striking coach. came from Elevate. And this was like a crazy story where we've been through like three different striking coaches, had the worst luck finding one. And Coach Harley was delivering Elevate flyers to our school and was like, "Hey, I never been here. What is this? What do y'all do?" And we were like, "Are you looking for a job?" He was like, "Sure." And he has been the most amazing person, and he has grown our Muay Thai program. Like, and we have all of that to thank, because of Elevate.
Yeah, I have seen that. I've seen that Team Osiris offers that, and he's under Ambush, and I think Bobby Peak out
Mm-hmm.
there in San
Mm-hmm.
Antonio. And
Yep.
I love San Antonio as a city, and I like going to film over there. But the Muay Thai over there is really good, and what Ambush in San Antonio and Austin as well, they have, I mean, some high level guys at high
Yep.
levels, and then these kids that are killers, and I'm sure even now y'all as well. How has that been?
It's been awesome. So they compete a lot too. And what's so funny is that our school is about 30% female, which I mean, I do a lot in the women's like jujitsu community. I do a lot in like women's outreach. And so that's not really surprising for me. But what is surprising is that when our Muay Thai classes there's more women in there than there is men. And so that's always like, it blows my mind because I always ask Coach Harley, like, did you ever think in a million years that you would have this team of female fighters that you're taking to compete and that like want to like do things on a high level and they want to like get better and they're so hardworking. And he's like, no, he goes, I never imagined it. He's like, but it is kind of cool to teach them how to fight. And so it's just kind of really a testament to him and his style and his passion and his dedication to it.
With the school, how many years has it been? It's not it's several years old, right?
3 years, yeah. We've in September, so October 1st, it'll be our third year. Yep.
I mean, that time went by really quick. I remember when it started and how all that kind of went down. But I mean,
Yeah.
how has that journey been getting to here? Has it been, what y'all thought it would, harder work, and going forward? What do you
It,
think?
It was a lot of hard work, but we kind of both knew that. We've owned businesses before, so we kind of knew what it needed to be successful. And to be honest, it was everybody kind of in the Houston Jiu-Jitsu like community. Our friends that are own schools, there's a lot of female school owners, and so we have like a group, and so everybody like is really good about sharing like their struggles. And I think Emily, and Daniel Galvao, they were like the 2 years, like just pour everything, 2 years. And after 2 years, it'll start flowing better. It'll like make more sense. And it has. We started working with like some gym like management software, big little gyms, and like everything just kind of started falling into place. But that doesn't mean that we're like, just kind of resting. It definitely means we're still working hard. But this year, third year, first year we get to take a vacation. So that's nice.
Wow. I mean, would they say? I wonder if that's for any business, even just like surviving that first 2 years. If you can survive, then it's a lot better and easier.
Yeah, I think you just learned like what you want, what you don't want, especially martial arts. That's the hard part.
Mhm.
Because, when you first open, you're like, I want everyone, we just want bodies to come in through the door. By the third year, you've learned some really hard lessons and you're like, okay, I don't want everyone. I want people that are going to be a good fit for this like gym culture and that are going to bring people up and not like cause a lot of issues or cause a lot of drama. And that becomes harder, but the quality of your students becomes a lot better.
What about the marketing side? Because I know y'all have done a really good job. I mean, consistently putting out content and working with people and just hitting it in the right spot. I would say. How has that been?
Yeah, so we've done a lot, with our gym management system, we kind of learned how to like just do like Facebook ads and things like that. We're really big on Google reviews. We worked with Jay, so Jay Spiegel's like a local, and he has Create Digital. And when they first started their company, they were like, we want to make some videos. And we worked with him for over a year and we got some amazing content. I mean, we had so many videos like go viral, like, it was just amazing. It really helped kind of stamp our name and like show that we had like a reputation, I guess. And I think that's important. When people are looking at martial arts schools, they want to see who you are, they want to see what you're about, they want to see like your classes, your students, and they also want to see that you don't take yourself too seriously. And I think that's what we're really good at is like we like to joke, we like to have fun. We're even in our training room, there's a lot of smack talking and a lot of joking that goes on. And I think that helps people feel more comfortable, like to learn something that is pretty tough and strenuous on your body.
How important is it, I guess, those relationships with other gym owners and other gyms? Because I've gone and filmed places and I've seen you, training, cross training. What's that like?
That is so important. I think a lot of times when you own a gym, it becomes really hard to get out there and train because you're just busy every day with like the ins and outs. But for me, I've always loved to cross train. I mean, actually, my professor is Travis Took, and he just got his fifth degree on his black belt. And so for me, I have to go out there. So that means Robert always tags along. So he goes out there, and then we work with all Eve's guys, and then I still do wrestling with Servando at West Chase. And so, but what has happened is we didn't really expect this to happen, but we just have very like unique styles that are like bits and pieces of everyone. We train with Pedro like on a weekly basis, and so like we get to learn, and it's crazy to me that I've been doing this 10 years, and like Pedro or Victoria or Servando or Travis can show something, and I'm like mind blown. And it's like, how have I never known that? And but it's been so important too because of all the help that they provide us with, all the answers to the questions, but also like just kind of telling us like what to be careful of, what to be wary of. And I know when we first started Ompliano, like he helped out a lot too. And I just feel like sometimes like in Houston, our jujitsu community is really like they're really giving and they really want to help each other. There are bad apples out there, but I mean, I think with the energy that you put off, that really makes all the difference.
What are your goals in jiu-jitsu, like currently, and then even
hmm
outside of jiu-jitsu, whether it's the gym or just like personal stuff? Like, what do you see going forward and hope for?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely just keep growing the school. Keep growing our amount of our athletes. They compete a lot. They love to compete. So it's kind of cool watching them go from like white belts to blue belts and purple belts and now getting opportunities to like, compete on Elevate and like compete on different platforms. So that's always fun. And honestly, like I get more joy and fulfillment out of coaching them than I do competing. I still compete because I do think it's important to put yourself out there and like test yourself. But it's just so much more enjoyable to watch them compete and them win. And then I can tell you, like I've done, and I know a lot of people have done this where they coached all day and then they competed. And I kind of like it. I enjoy it because you don't have time to worry about your own nerves. You're worried about their nerves. I think at ADCC Dallas, since I'm masters, I was at the end of the day. It was like 6 or 7 p.m. before I competed. And we had been there all day, like coaching. And so, for me, that's kind of where it's at. I don't think I will ever stop competing, and also because there's just not that many of us that compete, especially in nogi. Like there's more gi females than there are nogi, and so when an opportunity arises, I'm usually going to say yes, just because of the fact if I don't, then they might not find anyone else. So I think we'll definitely keep competing. Our students like us to do competitions with them too. So that's always fun. We all get to beat each other up, the couple months leading up to it. So that's fun too.
Can you remind everybody and give them an invitation? What's going on and why should they come and watch you compete?
Yeah, so September 22nd, Elevate is going to be a huge card. There's some amazing matches. I'm really excited about my match. I know that Stephanie's coming from Denver, so it's going to be somebody I'm not used to seeing on that stage. It's a good like stylistic like clash. And then I'm excited about Robert's match too with Matt Brooks because they're both two like very jujitsu-y people, and so like it's definitely Robert always gets paired with like wrestlers, so he's always got to go against wrestlers. But this time it's like jujitsu versus jujitsu. So I'm like very excited about that. And then some of our other students too. One of them, it's his first one. So, and he gets to go against a guy from Dark Side that, I've seen compete and just, he's wild up there. So like, I'm excited about that. And then Jonathan competes all the time. And he's no stranger to the Elevate stage. So we're excited about it. But everybody come September 22nd. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a blast and you won't regret it.
Can Robert do backflips like Matt Brooks can?
No, and I wouldn't even suggest that because like I would be scared he would hurt his back and then I would have to like teach all his classes.
Yeah, whenever Matt, the first time he came out, I didn't know, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And then I found out that he also teaches gymnastics there at Abstract Jiu
Yes.
Jitsu, and we went out there and filmed and checked it out, and I'm like, "Well, this makes more sense now." It's very cool
Yeah.
though, very cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to share or talk about?
Yeah, so definitely one of the things that is near and dear to my heart and that me and Emily started, it's been about 6 years ago, is it's called Houston Femme BJJ. And it's a
Nice.
monthly free women's open mat. And so every month, schools will volunteer. And every month we go to a different school on a Saturday or Sunday and we have a free open mat and we go all over Houston. It's just a time for women to get together and to cross train. And I mean, we have so many black belts, brown belts, white belts, people that have never trained jujitsu, and they just show up. We don't try to like teach them anything, or we don't try to like, say anything. We're just like, hey, warm up. We're starting a timer. Let's train. And it's been amazing. It's been 6 years. We actually have been able to sponsor some other girls to compete. And so if you are looking for like a way to keep women in jujitsu, that's a great way.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen posts, I've seen pictures. I've had people and friends that have gone and they've always just talked about how awesome it is and how fun it
Yeah.
is. Thanks,
Yeah, it's
Robert.
for us. Yeah. For us, it was just like we just wanted it to be fun.
Yeah.
A lot of us competed, and then we come from a time when there were not a lot of women. And so we would have to go compete against women, and then we're like, whoa, this is weird. Like their bodies move differently and they're way more flexible. And like I'm doing an ankle lock and it's not working. So like we're like, man, we should just get together and train. And so that's how it started. And we just really didn't want any, like, we didn't want to try to sell them anything. And we didn't want to try to, like, like, oh, you got to pay for this. Like, we just wanted to be free and fun and training. And then they were like, well, make some shirts and make some stickers. And then we just took all that money and we put it into a pot. And we're like, hey, if you want to compete and you can't afford it, just write us a little thing and we'll pay for your competition. And so we've been doing that for like 6 years now. And I, I always feel like, it makes me like, wow, we did this. Like, and it's a beautiful thing. And honestly, like, even when we started, there were not a lot of women's open mats and there were not a lot of women's only classes. And now they're everywhere. And that just makes my heart like so happy that there's like, because the women's only classes, they're really an opportunity for women that are scared to train. That's like their entry level. And then once they get in there, they're like, oh, this isn't so bad, and then they join like the general population, but they've really been important for schools.
What would you say the goal is, going forward? Just keeping the group going and just keep sponsoring and stuff?
Pretty much that's it. I mean, just keep growing, keep doing them every month. We try to visit new schools. We try to visit, when one of our members like opens a school, we always go there. And I think that's what it's about. It's just about building the community here. And like some of the girls will tell you, they've made lifelong friends there. And it's crazy to me to look at pictures when we were all blue belts and now everybody's like brown belts and black belts. And that's like crazy that everybody has stayed so connected this whole time.
That's awesome. Um, can you remind everybody, I guess, how can they follow you
Yeah.
and on social media and just stay in contact?
Yeah. So our school is Team Osiris, HTX, and I am Strength Body Mind BJJ. I added BJJ after 10 years. I was like, well, I guess this is my life, so I can add BJJ to the end. So Strength Body Mind. You can follow us there. We're on YouTube. We're everywhere. Just same thing, Strength Body Mind and Team Osiris.
Thank you so much for hanging out today. I appreciate you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me.
This is Guardy with Clear Life Combat. You can watch Stephanie Trevino September 22nd. Compete for Elevate, get a ticket, or you can watch on Clear Life Media. Y'all be blessed.